Welcome students. This video is important for BA second semester student, BA first year. This is the part second of the chapter. Chapter name is Pigeons at Daybreak. We have start. All right, she asked, looking down at her husband sunk into a heap on his chair, shaking with the effort to suck in air. His lips tightened and whitened in silent reply. She sighed and went away to sort out spices in the kitchen to pour them out of large containers into small containers to fill those that were empty. Those that were full, giving everything that came her away a little loving polish with the end of her sari, for it was something she loved to do, but she did not stay very long. She was worried about her husband, foolish and unreasonable as he seemed to her in his sickness. She could not quite leave him to his agony, whether real or imagined. When the postman brought them a letter from their son in Bhilai, she read out to him the boy's report on his work in steel mills. The father said nothing but seemed calmer, and she was able after that to make him eat a little rice and fish jolls, very lightly prepared, just as doctor प्रिस्क्राइब्ड। यानी ओटीमा बसों के लिए खाना बनाती है जैसे डॉक्टर ने प्रिस्क्राइब सलाह दे रखी है वैसा। लाई डाउन, सी सेड, sucking at a fish bone as she removed the dishes from the table. It's too hot out on the balcony. Take some rest. Rest, he snapped at her, but shuffled off into the bedroom and allowed her to make up his bed with all the pillows and bolsters that kept him in an almost sitting position on the flat wooden bed. He shifted and groaned as he heaped up a bolster here, flattened a cushion there, and said he could not possibly sleep. But she thought he did, for she kept an eye on him while she lifted through a heap of film and woman magazine on her side of the bed and thought his eyes were closed genuinely in sleep, and that his breathing was almost as regular as the slow circling of the electric fan above them. The fan needed oiling. It made a distributing clicking sound with very revolution, but who was there to climb up to it and do the oiling and cleaning? Not so easy to get these things done when one's husband is old and ill. She thought, she yawned, she rolled over. When she brought him his afternoon tea, she asked, had a good sleep, which annoyed him. Never slept at all, he snapped, taking the cup from her hands and spilling some tea. How can one sleep if one cannot breathe? He growled, and she turned away with a little smile at his stubbornness. But later that evening he was genuinely ill, choked in a panic at his inability to breathe as well as at the prospect of a hot night without a fan. What will I do? He kept mourning in between violent struggle for air that shook his body and left it limp. What will I do? I will tell you, she suddenly answered and wiped the press expressions from her face in relief. I will have your bed taken up on the terrace. यानी बासु का जो बेड है वो छत के ऊपर लगा दिया. टेरेस का मतलब होता है छत पे. आई कैन कॉल बुलू फ्रॉम नेक्स्ट डोर टू डू इट. बुलू बासु को छत पे ले गया. यू कैन स्लीप आउट इन द ओपन एयर टूनाइट एहे. दैट विल बी वंस वॉन्ट इट. दैट विल डू यू गुड. सी ब्राइटेंड बोथ एट the thought of a night spent in the open air on the terrace, just as they had done when they were younger, and climbing up and down stairs was nothing to them, and at the thought of having an excuse to visit the neighbors and having a little chat while getting them to come and carry up a staring bed for them. Of course, old Basu made a protest and a great fuss and coughed and spat and shook and said he could not possibly move in this condition or be moved by anyone, but she insisted and ignoring him went out to make the arrangements. Basu had not been on the terrace for years, while his wife and Bulu led him up the stairs, holding him up and propping his upright by their shoulders as though he were some lifeless bag containing something fragile and valuable. He tried to think when he had last attempt or achieved what now seemed a tortuous struggle up the steep concrete steps to the wrapped green door at the top. They had given up sleeping there on summer nights long ago, not so much on account of old age or weak knees really, but because of their perpetual quarrels with the neighbors on the next terrace, separate from there by only a broken wooden trails. Noisy, inconsiderate people addicted to the radio turn on the full blast. At times the man had been drunk and troubled and abused his wife, who gave as a good as she got. यानी उस दिन बुल्लू छत पे लेके गया बासु को. उस दिन से पहले भी कई साल पहले भी बासु और ओटिमा छत पे सोते थे, लेकिन उनका जो पड़ोसी था वो अच्छा बिहेवियर नहीं था उसका. वो तेज़ रेडियो बजाता था और ड्रंक करता था और उनको परेशान करता था बासु और ओटिमा को. It had been intolerable. Otima had argued her husband night after night to protest. When he did, they had almost killed him. At least they would have had they managed to cross over to the Basu terrace, which they were physically prevented from doing by their sons and daughters. The next night they had been even more offensive. Finally, the Basu had been forced to give in and retreat down the stairs to sleep in their closed, airless room under the relentlessly ticking ceiling fan. At least it was private there. After the first few restless nights, they wondered how they had ever put up with the public sleeping outdoors and its disturbance, its nuisance, as Otima called it in English, thinking it an effective word. That had not he groaned aloud as they led him up over the last step to the green door, being the last visit he had paid to the rooftop. As Bulu kicked open the door, half-witted he may be, but he was burly too and good-natured, like so many half-wits. And the city sky revealed itself in its dirt, swept greys and mauves. On the same level with them, Basu recalled how, not so many years ago, he had taken his daughter Charu's son by the hand to show him the pigeon roast on so many of the Daryagan's rooftops, and pointed out to him a flock of collectors' pigeons like so many silk and ivory fans floating in the sky. The boy had watched in silence, holding on to his grandfather's thumb with tense delight. The memory of it silenced his groans as they lowered him onto the bed they had earlier carried up and spread with as many pillows and bolsters. He sat there getting back his breath and thinking of Nikhil. यानी ग्रैंडसन निखिल की याद आ रही थी बासु को. वैन वुड ही सी निखिल अगेन. वह निखिल को दोबारा देखना चाहता था. वट वुड ही नॉट गिव टू हैव दैट चाइल्ड होल्ड हिज थंब अगेन एंड गो फॉर ए वॉक विद हिम. यानी वो उसे उंगली पकड़ के घुमाता था. उसकी याद आ रही थी निखिल की बासु को. पंचुअली एट 8 o'clock द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वाज स्विच्ड ऑफ. 8 बजे बिजली चली जाती है दरियागंज की. इमीडिएटली sucking up Daryaganj into a box of shadows so that the distant glow of Connaught Place still lit up was emphasized. The horizon was illuminated as by a fire roasted red. The traffic made long strips of light up and down the streets below them. Lying back, Basu saw the dome of the sky as absolute, impenetrable, surrounded with summer dust, and it seemed to him as airless as the room below. Nikhil, Nikhil, he wept as though the child might have helped, nor could he find any ease, any comfort on that unaccommodated string bed. The wooden pallet in their room was, of course, too heavy to carry up even for Bulu. He complained that his heavy body sunk into it as into a hammock, that the strings cut into him, that he could not turn on that wobbling net in which he was caught like some dying fish gasping for air. It was no cooler than it had been indoors, he complained. There was not the slightest breeze and the dust was stifling. Otima soon lost the light heartedness that had come to her with this unaccused change of scene. She tired of dragging around the pillows and piling up the bolsters, helping him into the sitting position and the lowering him into a horizontal one, bringing him his medicine, fanning him with a palm leaf, and eventually of his groans and sobs as well. Finally, she gave up and collapsed onto her own string bed, laying there exhausted and sleepless, too distracted by the sound of traffic to sleep. All through the night her husband moaned and gasped for air. Towards down it was so bad that she had to get up and massage his chest when done long and patiently enough it seemed to relieve him. Now lie down for a while. I will go and get some iced water for your head, she said, lowering him onto the bed and went tiredly down the stairs like some bundle of dumb washing slowly falling. Her eyes dropped. Heavy bags held the tiredness under them. To her surprise, there was a light on in their flat. Then she heard the ticking of the fan. She had forgotten to turn it off when they went up to the terrace, and it seemed the electricity had been switched on again. Earlier than they had accepted, the relief of it brought her energy a bond, back in a bound. He bustled up the stairs. I will bring him down. He will get some hours of sleep after all, she told herself. It's all right, she called out as she went up to the terrace again. The electricity is on again. Come, I will help you down. You will get some sleep in your own bed after all. Leave me alone, he replied quite gently. Why, she cried. I will help you. You can get into your own bed. You will be quite comfortably. Leave me alone, he said again in that still voice. It is a cool now. It was morning had stirred up some breeze of the slugless river Jamuna beneath the city walls, and it was cried over the rooftops of stifled city, pale and fresh and delicate. It brought with it morning light as delicate and sweet as the breeze itself, a pure pallor unlike the lived glow of artificial lights. This lifted higher and higher into the dome of the sky, diluting the darkness there till it too grew pale, and gradually shades of blue and mauve tinted it lightly. The old man lay flat and still, gazing up, his mouth hanging open as if to let it pour into him as cool and fresh as water. Then, with a swirl and flutter of feathers, a flock of pigeons hurtled upwards and spread out against the dome of the sky, opalescent sunlight like small pearls. They caught the light as they rose, turned brighter till they turned at last into crystal, into prism of light. Then they dispersed into the soft deep blue of the morning. यानी चैप्टर के अंत में हमें दिखाया गया है कि जैसे पीजन्स और फ्लॉक्स फ्लाइट कर रहे हैं और बासु का मुंह खुला हुआ है। ये चैप्टर का अंत है। सेकंड सेमेस्टर की समरी एज कंपेयर टू फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर की समरी थोड़ी ज़्यादा बड़ी है, इसलिए 2 पार्ट में इनकी वीडियो आएंगी कुछ चैप्टर्स की। सो दैट्स इट्स फॉर नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, हैव ए ग्रेट डे।